What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to basketball, and more importantly, welcome back to Ideal Offseason. This is the series where I put the GM cap on for a little bit and help a team navigate through their offseason. And now we try to keep this series as realistic as possible, meaning we try to take a look at every team's real life situation and say, how do we better position them going forward after this offseason? If you're the Washington Wizards and you're not a very good basketball team, but you've got all these interesting young guys that you're kind of trying to develop, put them on the right track, we're going to help you do that. Or if you're the Lakers, you got Luka and LeBron, you're trying to win basketball games, you're trying to win a championship, we're obviously going to try to help you do that. And today, we've got the Boston Celtics. I have to imagine this is a pretty interesting one for a lot of people because they just have a lot of business decisions that need to be made this offseason, and we're going to do that by taking a look at their roster, their salary cap situation, the kind of draft picks that they're working with. We're going to make realistic trades, go through the draft, do free agency using realistic numbers and outlooks, all to try to put the Boston Celtics in the best position moving forward. But before we go and do that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and comment. I've responded to every single comment to my YouTube channel up to this point, and I intend to keep on doing so. Ideal Offseason's back. Obviously, you guys are watching it. Go watch the other videos in this series. They're by far and away the best videos on my channel. They do really, really well in terms of views for me, and I think it's pretty unique. Nobody else is really doing this on YouTube. I think it's a lot of fun. Also, go watch my Do They Fit in the NBA video series. Those videos get demonetized every single time, unrightfully so, unfortunately, but I really enjoy doing them, and I hope you guys do too. So if they keep getting views, I'm going to keep putting them out. And yeah, I think that's a good way to get ready for the draft. But anyway, let's talk about the Celtics. And now that brings us back to the ideal offseason spreadsheet. For those of you unaware, I build a lot of these spreadsheets on my channel to kind of help articulate and visualize the stories behind the things that we do here. I built this spreadsheet. It's a cool little thing. If you want access to it, you can actually get it. All you have to do is go into the description of this video. You'll see a link to join my Discord there. If you click that and join, which is free, by the way, you'll see on my announcements channel, there's a link to download it there. That's also free, so you can get this spreadsheet really, really easily, and you can mess around with it, post the things that you make there on the Discord. Yeah, it's a pretty cool little thing that I'd just like to share with you guys. But anyway, Boston Celtics. So I think a lot of us expected them to kind of be the favorites going in. They won the championship the previous season, and that, like, let's just remember this before we freak out too much, right? This team's coming off a championship, right? And as of recording this, they're still the champions. Actually, I've got the Denver Nuggets game on in the background over here, the one versus the Thunder, Game 7. I'm recording this on Sunday, the 18th, and it's not looking good. It's like the end of the fourth quarter now, so I was like, I'm just gonna start recording, but who knows? Maybe it'll get better. The Celtics had a great season, right? Injuries at very unfortunate times took place, and it just didn't really work out. Like Porzingis, at the time of recording this, we still don't really know what was wrong with him, like this mystery illness. It's really, really scary. I've heard a couple theories from some people about it, and like I don't think they know for certain, so I'm not going to speculate. I'm not a doctor, but scary stuff, right? Jason Tatum, who you see not on here, I've actually got him marked in red right here because all likelihood says that you're probably not going to get to see Jason Tatum really next year, and we hope that he comes back quicker. It's just, it sucks to see people like this go down, but it is what it is. And while they're still a really talented team, despite all of that, it just wasn't enough. The New York Knicks are really, really good at basketball, and yeah, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes, right? But now we're faced with this interesting situation, right? The Celtics are one of the more expensive teams in basketball, right? Now they got to make some business decisions. They're not going to be quite as good this next season. Their best player's out in Jason Tatum, right? So this is an opportunity to kind of drop below that luxury tax again, and we're going to talk about that later in the video, kind of what all that means, but we kind of have to sell off some pieces now, which is really, really unfortunate, but this team just kind of can't operate as a business with how much this team costs right now. And look, it's the price of being good. It's what happens, but it's unfortunate that we have to make some business decisions today. So let's start off with just going through their roster. Let's talk about who's all here. We'll go through the cap, we'll go through our draft assets, and then we'll also carve out what kind of strategy we're working with here. And then we'll make some trades, do the draft, do free agency, all the fun stuff that you guys care about. So Looking at the roster, Jaylen Brown. Oh, you know what? Let me stop myself for a second. If you're new to these videos, these numbers right here, what do these mean? These are EPM numbers. It stands for estimated plus minus. If you're not familiar, EPM is basically a really advanced statistic that tells us how good somebody is at an individual level on offense, defense, and overall. I've taken those numbers and indexed them so that you can get a 0 to 100 score as to how good somebody is in comparison to everyone else in the NBA right now against each other. So if you got a 100 on offense, you'd be the best player. If you got a 0, you would be the worst. So just a little bit of context there. As always, every statistic has its flaws. EPM is really well thought through, and while there's not necessarily flaws in it, there's always missing context with statistics. So take that into account with these things. I don't want you to think that it's some god statistic, right? There's always missing context with things. I should do a whole video on it at some point. But anyway, Jaylen Brown. Phenomenal basketball player. We understand that, right? Defensively, fell off a little bit this year. We saw like the shooting numbers really drop off. I could tell from like midway through the season that something was not right with his body, and it turns out he had been playing with like a partially torn meniscus for most of the year. So try to cut the dude some slack, okay? Right? Like dude is playing through it. Dude is grinding it out, is what it is. Jason Tatum, one of the best players we have in the NBA, 98.8 percentile, as you'll see overall here. We all know he's amazing. It's really unfortunate what happened to him. Where I have him on the roster here, but just here in red because I'm not going to bank on him being back next season. We have to plan like he's not going to be there, unfortunately. Jrue Holiday, phenomenal basketball player, right? Like in everything that he does. Jrue Holiday just wins you games sometimes because he's every coach's favorite type of guy, just always doing the right thing at the right time. Elite defensive player, still a really good offensive player, but getting up there in age, right? And this team needs to make some budget cuts. Fully expect Jrue Holiday to probably not be on this roster by the end of this video. Same with Kristaps Porzingis. It's the last year of his deal, and he's obviously probably a little bit less valuable than Jrue Holiday because of the amount of injuries he had. But man, the three-point shooting and the defense, I mean, you look at the numbers right here, right? I mean, it tells you everything. Kristaps has really blossomed since being on the Celtics team, and it's just unfortunate that injuries keep taking place. So it's just going to be something that somebody else is going to have to deal with because we've just got to move on. It's too much money. Derek White, just all around awesome player, right? Like we all have seen Derek White just hit clutch three after clutch three, make elite defensive stops. He can put the ball on the floor a little bit. He's every coach's dream. For his contract, it's a steal. It's a steal and a half. And with the numbers that you're seeing here, it's unmatched. While it's going to be hard to be a contender this next year if you're the Celtics, right? Jason Tatum is going to come back at some point, and I want to keep this team as competitive as possible for when he gets back. I'm going to try very hard to keep Derek White in this video because I just think he's so important to this group. Sam Hauser, shooter extraordinaire, did not shoot well in the playoffs, but overall, really valuable offensive player. Defensively, not that bad, and some context for that, right, with statistics. When you have so many other good defenders around you, it just makes your job a lot easier because you're never having to like make up for other people's mistakes, right? So that inflates his defensive number, I'd say, a little bit, but just some context there. Peyton Pritchard, possibly the best contract in the entire NBA. Only $7 million for the next couple seasons. This is what gives me faith that I can trade Jrue Holiday and not hate my life too much because I can just start Peyton Pritchard next year, and he's going to be elite offensively. He's going to be just fine defensively. Sixth man of the year this last year, and we're just going to be like, hey, no longer are you six man. You got to be starting point guard, my guy. Baylor Shireman, rookie from this last year. Again, defensive number a little bit inflated because he's got good defenders around him. So also just kind of be a shooter guy, kind of a poor man's John Conchar type of dude, and so that's kind of what you get out of him. Xavier Tillman doesn't really do much for you offensively, and you see that reflected here. Defensively, pretty solid as a smaller center. Look, he's cheap, and it's a one-year deal, so and we're gonna need some bigs on this roster. We'll see if we want to keep him around, but it's a guaranteed deal, and look, when you're that cheap, might as well keep you around. So we'll see. Nemezi Keita over here, a guy that I personally really enjoy to watch. He only about half of his contract is guaranteed this next year. But again, I don't want to pay any extra money to anybody that's not actually playing basketball to me right now. So he's probably going to be staying on the roster as well. But just a nice run, jump, and dunk option. I mean, you look at the numbers here and like 60th percentile overall. Not a bad basketball player to have on your team. Jordan Walsh, younger guy on the team here. $200,000 guaranteed. He's still young. He's developing, right? Just his second year in the NBA, right? So kind of in the same place as Baylor Shireman. It'd be nice if we can get some growth out of one of these guys because we're going to need it in the depth at some point. Pretty solid defensive player. Not the best offensively right now, but Again, we'll hope for growth. And then J.D. Davison here, kind of young, more athletic guard. Hasn't really quite figured out much yet. Doesn't get a ton of playing time either. He's got a team option. And I'm thinking with J.D., because he's got this team option, I've got a second-round pick that I could get for cheaper. And so I don't feel a need to bring him back. I just don't think he brings a lot of value to this team. And we still want to be competitive next year. I don't want to be a bad basketball team next year. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to let him go. If we need to involve him in a trade later, then fair enough. I'm just gonna take him off the roster for the time being. So that's what we're currently working with. There's 4 open roster spots currently. So just take that into account. I'm gonna take JD off of here for the time being. Let's take a look at the salary cap, and this is the biggest part of the video right here, because this is the main thing we're gonna be working with, are these numbers right here. So for those of you not familiar, there's 4 levels to the NBA salary cap. If you want a real in-depth explanation as to how those work, go watch this Phoenix Suns video right here. It's the first video in this series, and it'll explain it a lot more. But here's your brief overview. Cap space right here. Once that number hits 0, which it clearly has, that means you've crossed the cap. You can only re-sign your own players for anything more than a minimum. You can always bring your own players back for whatever it is that you want, right? But to go get someone from another team and pay them anything more than a minimum, you can't be over the cap. So that's what that number means. Then we go to luxury tax. We've also crossed this one because we're at a 0. Once you cross luxury tax, your team gets way more expensive. And here's the kicker. This is the whole point of this video. Every year that you're in the luxury tax for consecutive seasons, it compounds and compounds and compounds. What does that mean for those of you that aren't very good at math? Basically, like let's say they charged you 10% interest one year for being in the luxury tax. Next year it's 20. Next year it's 30 for every single dollar that's on there. So they made a trade this season for, what was that dude's name? I can picture his, Jaden Springer. They traded Jaden Springer because he made $4 million. That's a little bit more than a minimum. But in doing so, they saved like $16 million in trading him because they've just been in the luxury tax for so long. And we need to avoid that number. If we're not going to be probably true title contenders next year, this is a good opportunity to reset for business reasons, right? Otherwise, the team's we can't make money, right? And we still need to make money. So that's the big one for this. We've got to get back below this luxury tax line somehow, and that's going to hurt, but we're going to have to make it happen and still try to be competitive. Next are these first and second aprons, which you'll see we've crossed the first, and we're $17 million over the second, with still 4 roster spots open. So what basically the aprons are is they're newer things that the NBA has added to try to make star players not get traded quite so much. It's just better for the NBA if star players stay where they are. So when you cross these aprons, it usually means that you're a pretty good basketball team, right? And you've got some good basketball players that cost a lot of money, and once you've crossed this, they make it really, really hard for you to trade people, sign certain people using exceptions. You're basically stuck with the roster you have until you get back below them. And we've obviously been up in that second apron here as the Celtics, because we've got a really good team that we don't really want to touch. We don't care. We're going to pay for it because we're contenders, and unfortunately now we've got to drop back below that, right? So we've got a little bit of work to do. We're $17 million into the second, and we've got to move some bodies. Talking draft picks, we've got 2 in this year's draft, which is actually really valuable for us because draft picks are a good way to add people to your roster that don't cost very much money, right? It's a good way for us to add a couple cheap guys to the team. And right now we've got a first and a very early second round pick, which is good because this is a good draft class. Like, we can get some solid players with these picks right here that might be able to even play right away for us next year. It's a maybe, but we'll see, right? We'll see if there's anybody interesting there. So those are really valuable. If I could get another one, I probably would. If I could get another second round pick, I am so down for it. Just we need to be as cheap as possible this season. We need to be. And so I need to find a way to probably add another second round pick to this team. So with all of that being said, this is who's currently on the roster. The name of the game is cut salary and remain competitive, which is a very difficult thing to do in practice. The good news is, like, if we're trading Drew Holiday does have some value. He is old and he's on a bigger contract, and that is going to be tough for some teams to swallow, but there's other teams that are trying to compete right now, right? So somebody's going to need a point guard. Kristaps Porzingis, it is just a 1 year, and he is a valuable player when he's on the court. Again, it's just 1 year contract. Somebody tries him out, they don't like him, it's not a big deal anyway. They freed up some salary cap space after that. So there are ways to do this, right? There's certainly ways to do this, and we're probably gonna have to move 1 or 2 other guys just outside of them, but that's the name of the game here. We're gonna try to make some realistic deals and see where we can go. But anyway, let's move on to the trade portions of the video. Alrighty, so that brings us back here to Fanspo. If you're new to these videos, Fanspo, really cool website where you can do like trades, mock drafts, and a bunch of other things that they've got listed out here. Just a really clean website. I'm not sponsored or anything. I just like to point it out when I can. They do things really well here. And by the way, if you just skip to this part of the video, oh my god, fuck you. No, I'm just kidding. Could you imagine though? I've just really liked doing this because the analytics on my videos say that most of you just skip to the last like 15 minutes of this video, which is me describing all the strategy that is required to go into the rest of this, because you guys have rocks in your brain and you can't actually take 5 to 10 minutes to just like listen and learn a little bit along the way because TikTok has ruined you. But no, I do suggest you go back and watch it though. So I'm just calling people out the way I see it. The numbers don't lie. Okay, so trades. How are we going about this? First, we need to understand how many roster spots do we even have available. Right now we have 4, but it's really more likely 2 or maybe even 1, just because we are trying to get a couple draft picks to make things a little bit cheaper, right? But another thing we need to do is look at our own free agents. Who do we want to bring back right here? Well, one of them is the maybe of Al Horford, right? It's the maybe of Al Horford. We don't know what he's doing, if he's retiring or not. It had sounded like maybe if they won a championship, maybe just call it there. We're not so sure. It'd be cool for him to play 20 seasons. He likes playing for the Celtics. Does he really want to come back if they're not going to be true contenders? We don't know, and at the time of recording this, we just don't know, right? So here's kind of what I'm thinking. I kind of don't want to act under the assumption that Al Horford is coming back for certain. I feel like he could just call it, but take this as you will, right? Take this as you will, because we got guys like Luke Kornet as well that I would be interested in bringing back, because Luke Kornet did do a lot of really good things for the Celtics this last year. And so what I think I might do is I'm going to put Luke Kornet down as a guy that we're retaining, but just sub this in for Al Horford if Al Horford says that he wants to come back, right? That's kind of what I'm trying to say with this. So Luke Kornet, we're holding a roster spot for you. If it is Al Horford, then cool, we'll take Al Horford instead, but we're going to try to use the other 3 roster spots on some draft picks, which means we kind of have to do 1-for-1 player trades right now in order to have enough to make that happen. So normally with these videos, I really don't think about them too much. I just kind of go into them and react and kind of say, okay, what makes sense? Try to figure out live and in person. And I haven't completely figured out what I want to do, but I've got some ideas, right? Because this is just a trickier situation to manage. And by the way, Fanspo only lets you go up to like 4 other teams that you can trade with in here. So we're going to have to mix and match things to make it work just a little bit, because we're going to need more than that. Kristaps Porzingis, let's trade him first. He's making $30 million. We need to take less of that back. We really do. So here's kind of what I'm thinking. I was looking around the NBA and I'm like, okay, who could use a shooting big man right now? And there was a couple teams that came to mind, but the one that stood out the most to me was the Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magic needs shooting like nobody's business. One of the worst shooting teams we've ever seen this last year. And what Kristaps Porzingis can do is still play really good defense, and he can space the floor, which is good because your 2 best players can't really space the floor in this team right now. And Franz and Banchero, hell, even Suggs isn't a great shooter, right? So what I'd like to do is give you guys a 1-year rental of Kristaps Porzingis. Test him out, see if you like him. If he proves that he's good, then great. You got the center you've been looking for to have around your young core. Like, this team needs to make some moves to get better. We're moving Kristaps Porzingis over to the Magic. But we need to do a little bit more if we want to actually like make all of this work money-wise, to where we're taking back like a little bit less money, right? And they can't just take on Porzingis. You'll see they've crossed into the second apron already here. So I already know I'm going to need to bring a 3rd team into this. It's going to be Brooklyn, because that's one of like the 2 teams you can dump salary to right now. And I think Brooklyn's in that spot where they didn't get a great draft pick, and they're like, oh yes, give me your bad contracts and your draft picks. Num, so good. Who do we want back is the question. Well, you guys have quite a few centers on the roster, and who I think you guys don't necessarily need at this point, who kind of took a step backwards this last year, is Wendell Carter. A guy that's a debatable kind of starter level center, plays really strong defense, has shown that he can step out and hit before. He's on a pretty cheap contract. I'll take Wendell Carter back to be my starting center next year. Totally cool with that. That's my center. I can I can live with that, but we've got to move on from a little bit more money from this team as well to make it work, and that's where KCP comes into play. The Nets just need to pay somebody, so they take on KCP, and this is where it gets a little bit complicated, right? So the Magic here took on the best player by far. You could say, well, the injuries and everything. I'm also presuming that they're going to figure out his illness thing. If something like that happens, this obviously becomes way more complicated, so just take that into account, right? Again, trying to keep this realistic. We're going to presume that they've figured out what's wrong with him, right? So we've gotten rid of the best player in this draft right here. The Nets need to be compensated for taking on this salary. So the Magic are going to be the ones sending out the most stuff here. The Magic also can't use every single draft pick that they have right now because they have too many guys on their roster and they couldn't actually use any of these anyway. So they're not very valuable to them. So what I would like at the very least is this second round pick from them. I think that that's more than fair. I think you send this back to us. And I'm acknowledging that Porzingis gets hurt a lot. His production says you should get a first round pick for him, but look, we're not giving away a guy that's completely healthy, right? So we got to be realistic. I'm going to say 2 second round picks, probably what you got to do for someone like this. So I'm going to say give us just our 2027 second round pick back. Like, just give us that one back. Like, we're probably going to be pretty decent at that point, but it'd be really nice if we could have more second round picks going forward, because again, we're going to be in similar situations where we need cheap guys to put at the end of the bench, and that gives us an opportunity to do so. So a couple second round picks going back to us. What are we giving the Magic for taking on KCP in this one? I'm thinking it's a similar thing of like 2 second round picks here. They don't need any more picks this year. They've got more than they know what to do with, but the Magic actually have a plethora of second round picks, a plethora. So we're going to send out some of those. You look at this next year, they could probably keep this one. This one could be valuable here. So I think they give up their own. They probably presume they're going to be pretty good this next year. Send that over to the Nets. Then let's send over like one more. How about like their own 2028 second round pick as well? So, or is that too many? Is that too many? We might give you something back. We might give you something back in this as well. No, they don't need any more players or anything. Like, the Magic just need to pay, because, like, here's the thing. Like, they're taking in Porzingis and getting rid of KCP in this, so like that's kind of a double benefit. KCP's like not a bad player, he just does not fit on this team. He doesn't. Like, he's gonna be valuable to someone. Hell, maybe after a year they buy his ass out or something, or somebody else trades for him or something, I don't know. But no, they do need to send out like at least probably this many picks to make this happen. It's no firsts or anything. I don't think it's a bad move whatsoever. So financially, this should work. This works. Cool. So the Magic get a guy that they're looking for that could have huge upside to this team. It could be huge upside, right? We get at least a guy that can play the starting center for us this next season. We save a ton of money right off the bat. Brooklyn, they get some picks for taking on KCP. They've got to pay somebody anyway. Probably good to have at least like some established vets on this team. So I say we roll with that. So what picks did we end up taking on here? Our own 2027, and then the Magic's second round pick this year. So let me note that here, our own 2027 second, and then we've got the Magic 25 second round pick right here, which is pick number 46 in this year's draft. And now Kristaps Porzingis is more so, if I could actually spell, Wendell Carter Jr. So I'm going to switch this over right here. There we go. So look at this. We got out from under the second apron in just one move. That's great. Now we got to get out of the first apron in the luxury tax, right? And this is where we look at Drew Holiday. You're the next one on the list, my boy. You're the next one. And, oh, how did this get here? Oh, this is supposed to be set to the mock draft simulator. I don't need 2 tabs of that open. So cool. First trade done. I'm bringing more teams in now because Fanspo doesn't really let you, like, save progress and then make more deals or whatever. You kind of just have to keep adding on to it to make it work. So at some point we're gonna have to reset like all of this, unfortunately, and we're just gonna have to use like our own logic to make sure that it's working, but is what it is. So now Drew Holiday has to go. And here's my thinking, right? I'm looking at this team, and like we're a little bit weak at the forward spot right now because Jaylen Brown's there. He's awesome, right? Sam Hauser, I'm not sure he's even going to survive this video. We might have to move him. His $10 million could be the difference, right? Jordan Walsh and Baylor Shireman, potentially, but we'd obviously like some sort of power forward, and we're trying to trade Drew Holiday. And well, like I said, I did a little bit of thinking about it. I'm like, What's a team that needs a point guard that can give up a forward? Well, that's where the Dallas Mavericks come into play here. No Kyrie Irving to start the year. They need someone to try to steer the ship for when he comes back, because they're trying to contend right now. They are. And look, Nico Harrison keeps saying, all I want is defense, right? All I want is defense. Well, I'm using that against you then. You guys got some cap space. You can take on a Mr. Drew Holiday. Like, I think you guys totally could. We're gonna have to make it work a little bit, but you know, we can get it there. We can get it there, and I think we might use our old friend the Brooklyn Nets again, actually, to try to make this happen. So let's see if we can't do that to dump a little bit more salary to you. So here's how it starts, right? Drew Holiday, get your ass over to the Mavericks, boy. Like, no, that's so mean. Drew Holiday's an awesome guy and player from everything I understand about him personally. But Drew Holiday, you're the new point guard, right? They just took on a whole bunch of money, so we got to move some. They have more forwards than they know what to do with, and they don't even have Cooper Flagg on the roster yet. PJ Washington, 1 year left, kind of the odd man out at this point. You get a really high-level player here in Drew Holiday. You guys can slide me back PJ Washington. How about you give me back PJ Washington? Nice 3-and-D forward, 1 year left, a lot cheaper, right? This is pretty good. We like this. So we still need to shed some salary, though, from the old Dallas Mavericks in order to make this happen. So here's what I'm thinking, right? We got to shed some salary. Caleb Martin, again, like they have so many forwards at this point, it's not really needed. I believe at the time you guys are seeing this, the Dallas Mavericks video would have just come out the day before, and we did a kind of a similar thing with them. So just watch this. We send Caleb Martin over to the Nets. Again, they can absorb this stuff. They don't really care that much. They get Jaden Hardy, young point guard, right? He's a young guy to kind of play around with, see if they like him, send him over there. Why the hell not? And then, is it Dwight Powell as well? Let me just see if this works financially or not. It doesn't. They need to cut 2.6 more. They need to cut a little bit more money as well. So we'll make that work. So Dwight Powell, you need to go over to the Nets as well. This doesn't work then, because we need to cut just a little bit more money, right? Just a little bit more money. Okay. How much do we have to cut in order to make this happen? 5.7. Who can we get rid of on this team and send back over there is the question. Let me think about this just for a little bit, like, because you've got some of these guys too on the cap holds, but that's not really making the biggest difference in the world. Is this something where we could take on? We can't take on more players is the problem, unless we're also giving them Sam Hauser in this deal, which we could do. But we can't take on that much more, like, financially, can we? How much more can they take on financially? Like, I can't just, like, move Sam Hauser over there, can I? So, like, let's just send him over to the Mavericks, right? Like, that's not going to work. They're not going to like that because of, oh, no, you actually could. Interesting. Okay, so we could send them both of these guys, and then we could take some guys back from here that are cheap, right? Right? We could potentially do that, but we can't take back more of them. So how are we going to do this? Can we take back like a Jalen Wilson or something? Like, let's take back Jalen Wilson. He didn't have a great season this last year, but it's kind of whatever. We'll take him back here to the Celtics. At least he can play the position that we need him to, right? That's not a big deal whatsoever. Maybe I won't need to make any extra deals. So by the way, this trade between the Mavericks, Nets, and Celtics, it's a separate one from the first one that we made, right? What other guy can we kind of get off their roster? Like Keon Johnson, interesting kind of shooting guard that, look, in all honesty, he's not that great, but he put up some okay numbers in Brooklyn last year, and we just need to make the salary work. Send him back to the Mavericks as well. And does this work then? Holy shit, it does. Okay, so let's summarize where we're at right now, right? Because there's a lot going on. So we just acquired PJ Washington and Jalen Wilson for Drew Holiday and Sam Hauser. So this deal's not done yet. Because we just gave you guys like some legitimately like good basketball players, right? The Brooklyn Nets, they're taking on salary right here, and the Mavericks are like gonna have to pay them off. Basically, they got a good young player in Jaden Hardy right here that again they can mess with for basically giving away Jalen Wilson and Keon Johnson, which they don't really want either of those guys anyway. They get Caleb Martin, who actually could be a really valuable trade chip to them, so that's a positive. They have to pay Dwight Powell for the year. Who cares? So honestly, like, not a bad trade for them at all. Like, they just got value for no value, right? So honestly, the Nets, Nets made out good in this one already. They might not even need to be compensated really for this. Like, yeah, they paid more money, but they had to pay money to somebody, right? So not a huge deal. And they already got some picks in the KCP one. The Mavericks, they got to give us some shit, right? We just gave you Drew Holiday and Sam Hauser. That's pretty good. Like, we got PJ Washington. PJ Washington's a good basketball player, don't get me wrong, but Drew Holiday and Sam Hauser, y'all got to give me something. So let me see what's out there. Y'all got to give me something. A first overall pick. No, not a Nico Harrison move like that. Who do we want? Can we get like a swap rights pick? I think that's probably fine, right? Is that fine or is that too much? Should I be asking for the second round pick or the swap rights first, which may not be actually that great by then? Like, we gave up Drew and Sam. Like, these are two guys that can like they just won a championship. For PJ Washington, 1 year deal. We're not even sure we're going to be able to keep him long term. And you guys got these guys on lock now. Like, and these are tradable pieces too, because like if the Mavericks want to go make a move for somebody like really good still, they can package these guys into something. I think you got to give us the pick swap, y'all. I think you got to give us this 2030 pick swap right here. So we take that back right here. This trade works. So we now have a 2030 first round swap right. So we have the Mavericks 2030 first round pick, and we're going to say swap. Is it swap best or swap worst? So we're swap worst with San Antonio. San Antonio swindling everybody out here with the San Antonio Spurs right there. Cool. So we did that. Drew Holiday is now PJ Washington and Jalen Wilson. So this is Mr. PJ Washington. Look at that. We've dropped below the luxury tax already with that. And Sam Hauser is now Jalen. Where is he? Jalen Wilson. There's so many Jalens in the NBA. Cool. Okay, and this does suck. Like, I feel really bad about doing stuff like this, but these are the business moves that you kind of have to make. So now, Peyton Pritchard, there. Boom. We only have one point guard on the roster. Two if you count Derek White, I suppose. But anyway, so we now have PJ Washington there. That's cool. We like that. Jalen Wilson, we've got him as well. Cool. We've solidified the forward spot a little bit more, right? We've got 3 draft picks and 3 roster spots left. I feel horrible about our point guard spot right now. We are going to have to draft a point guard with this 28th overall pick. I hope there is somebody there for us to pick. If not, maybe we can package these 2 picks to move up. I don't know how far we could go though. So let me duplicate this really quick, and I want to just look at the draft order because we might want to make a trade still to move up in this draft to get somebody, right? And who could benefit from moving back? Somebody that also needs cheap players, right? Because how much space do we have right now? We've got $8 million before we'd cross the luxury tax. If we moved up to, say, pick number, where are they right here? Like, what would pick, like, just say 24 be? That's $3 million right here. If we used one more second round pick, it's going to be $1 million. So we're at, like, 4. So we could still probably avoid the luxury tax if we moved up to, say, pick, like, 24-ish. Or something right now, maybe even like 23 or 22. So just something to keep in mind here. And who's got some of those picks? So here we are right here. Brooklyn doesn't need to. Orlando doesn't. OKC doesn't. Indiana doesn't. Atlanta. No, not really. None of these teams really do. Any of these other teams, I don't really see a team that needs to move back. Teams like the Nuggets and stuff are like just aren't even in this draft class. Like Cleveland would be another one that you'd be looking for, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to move up in this. So okay, let me take a look at the roster then, because I feel like I need like a free agency spot here. Like maybe someone else doesn't get retained, like a Jordan Walsh or something like that. Maybe. Is that really the option, is to not bring back like a Jordan Walsh or something? Just because, look, we need point guards. Well, maybe we should just go through the draft and figure it out from there. We don't have to make a decision on them right this minute, but let's go to the draft. And we also still have to sign Luke Cornett. Do we have to move one more person? Do we need to move one more person? Oh, shit, it's going to be so close. It is going to be so close, whatever we end up doing. So, okay, let's go to the draft and see what we can do from there. Alrighty, so that brings us back here to the Fanspo mock draft. Really, really cool thing where it'll kind of just simulate all this stuff for us. We are in a tough spot, man. We are getting so close to this luxury tax line. I gotta figure out how to navigate this. We might still need to make more trades later in the video, so stay tuned. It's complicated, y'all. It is really, really complicated to make this kind of stuff happen. So, all right, first one. LeBaron Filan just went. That would have been a guy I would have loved to have gotten. Who's available here? Cam Jones, Walter Clayton is available here. I don't like this like Fanspo consensus one here. Like, I just don't think it's very good. I need to fill out my own big board because like I just don't believe some of these players would be necessarily available at this point. So you know what? Let me go adjust it quick and go put what I think is a more realistic one in play. Alrighty, I tried to go do it and it doesn't let me like make like another big board or whatever. Apparently you can only have one on your account. So if you know how to change that, let me know in the comments section below. In this scenario here, Walter Clayton feels like the obvious pick in terms of like a point guard. Like that'd be perfect for us. And like I'm not gonna act like I think Walter Clayton for sure goes like mid to late first round before we're available. I mean, guys fall all the time. Dalton Connect was looked at as like 5th or 6th pick last year and he fell to like 18th, right? Things happen and we're using the randomizer of this for a reason. If we were to look at like other guys that have been picked already, like I don't know, like I could see a Ben Seraph falling a little bit further. I could see a Pettiford falling further, a Filan or something like that. So we could pick one of those guys, and those are other names that I would consider in this video. Like Boogie Flan is not even in the draft, so I don't even know how this happened, right? I could see Traore following a little bit farther or something. So just know we'd be taking a point guard with the highest pick that we have regardless, but in this instance, we're just going to take Walter Clayton and kind of just move on. Alrighty, so we're going to put Walter Clayton here. He's going to make about this much money, not very much. We're very thankful for that. Let's throw Walter Clayton right. Oh, that's not who I wanted. I want Walter Clayton right there. Very good. Cool. Now, we pick just a few picks later. Who do we want to get now? The initial guys that I see Thiero, who's a really athletic wing, and that's about it. Like, dude's a great athlete, maybe not the best basketball player. Cam Jones, that's another way to add a guard to this roster. We're desperate. Another older guard that can put the ball on the floor a little bit, shoot a little bit. Not a horrible defensive player. Cam Jones could certainly be available at this point. So I think I'm just going to pick Cam Jones. We need more mature guards like on this roster at this point. So that's what I'm going to go with. So we'll throw Cam Jones on here. He's going to make this much money. Give him another 4-year deal. Very, very cool. Yeah, we're gonna run into some salary cap problems. I feel like it's gonna be really, really close. Luke Cornett might not actually be able to come back. So I'm gonna put Cornett here for now, just for the time being, but we're going to see. We're going to see how much it ends up costing us in free agency because we might not be able to actually bring him back. But anyway, next pick. We've picked Cam Jones. We're picking a little bit later now. Pendo would have been another interesting one to go after here. You know what? Let's do the math now. Let's think ahead. Luke Cornett's going to, because we know how much the next pick is going to cost, right? It's going to cost that much money. It's going to be the same deal, whoever it is. We've got $3.2 million left. How long has Luke Cornett been in the NBA, because that determines what his minimum contract is. Luke Cornett might want more than the minimum contract, or at least a little bit. He's been in the NBA 7 years, which puts us at $3 million, which, oh my gosh, we can make it happen. Okay. So we're okay. We're okay. Let's go back to the mock draft. Who's available? Who the hell do we want here? Ooh, see, like, Renowned, I can't remember how the fuck to say his name. Probably not going to be available here, and I don't want to like kind of make fun of that or whatever because that just doesn't seem realistic. Kobe Brea, I got an elite comment to one of my videos that was like, if I've learned anything from Ideal Offseason, it's that Kobe Brea should be always picked in the draft, and you're right. I love that, so thank you. It's kind of a little comment to the video, if you could. Do we just take another guard? Like another one, take Mark Sears as well to go along with Walter Clayton? That is too many small guards. No. But we don't have any others. Like, we need to put more on the roster. So we kind of do have to, unless we don't want to bring Cornett back and we want to go find more of a veteran guard to bring in as well. That might be the option as well. I don't think we can guarantee that Luke Cornett's going to be on this roster, unfortunately. We might just have to make do with the bigs that we have and let him walk. So let's go after somebody else. Let's just find who kind of the best available guy is right now. Let me look through here because, I've done quite a bit of research on this draft class already. I've watched a ton of film at this point. Grant Nelson, I love a lot for this team as another forward, bringing a little bit more height to this team, because we've got a little bit of a smaller center here, maybe some smaller forward. Jalen Wilson, not really, but another smaller center here. Grant Nelson gives you some versatility and athleticism. I kind of don't mind that. Again, older guy, a little bit more experienced. I think we take Grant Nelson and just kind of move on with that. Again, kind of the upside of the versatility of him, I think, is really cool. So let's add Nelson as the final guy. Alrighty, so we throw Grant Nelson there. He can play right here. Cool. And that's the draft. That's the draft in and of itself. We've got $3.2 million or less to work with. So we can't cross this line right here. Got to keep this team cheap. Got one roster spot left that we need to go add another guard to. Let's go find who that person is in free agency. Alrighty, I'm sorry, Luke Cornett. I really wish I could have brought you back, but I need some guards on this team, and I need somebody that's not going to cost me too much money. So they can't be too old. D'Angelo Russell. How many years has he been in the NBA? Years of experience? There's no way it's 11. I think they're just, wrong on this website, most of the time. D'Angelo Russell has been in 9 years. Okay, and so, by the way, what is the most that we could actually, take on? That's too many. 3.287. That's too much as well. So the most we could take on is a guy that with 7 years of experience, and that's cutting it close. And we've done that. We've been cutting it close in these videos. We really have. So I'm leaving these and closing these tabs so I don't have to click through so many of them. But okay, so D'Angelo Russell, too many years. Karis LeVert, no. Luke Kennard, no. I need someone that can dribble a basketball right now. Dennis Schroeder. How many years has Schroeder been in the NBA? It's 100% more than that. If I could actually spell Dennis Schroeder. Yep, it's 11 years. Just wanted to make sure. I wasn't tripping, but it would have been great because I could have maybe convinced myself that was an okay thing to do. Aaron Holiday, that's not a bad one. Just taking a look at Aaron Holiday's numbers really quick. Let's pull him up. Very just solid all-around basketball player. I can't imagine they're bringing him back. I feel like they're going to want to spend the money elsewhere because his minimum would be less than that, right? Because how many years does Aaron Holiday have under him? And the Holidays are always so reliant, right? That's 6 years. Could be a solid one. I wouldn't mind getting someone with a little bit more size. We're still trying to be competitive, right? We're still trying to be competitive, and we got 2 little point guards right now. So I'd like another. Spencer Dinwiddie, too many years in the NBA. That's not going to cut it for us. Campaign, still a smaller guy, so not feeling that a ton. Monte Morris, Ty Jerome, no, that'd be cool, but no, it's not realistic. Delano Banton? Ooh, Delano Banton. That could be an interesting one. Would I rather have him or Aaron Holiday? Delano Banton's done some really cool things in his NBA career when he's been given the minutes. He's huge, 6'8", 6'9", can play the point guard, can handle the ball pretty well, pretty good distributor. Has shown he can hit the 3 at times. Not going to get more than a minimum. He hasn't gotten a ton of playing time recently. Take a look at his numbers here. It's nothing to write home about, but it is a different look for us. I'm sure Derek White's going to play a lot of point guard for us next year. But I'd probably want a little bit more traditional of a point guard if I could. Markelle Fultz. How many years does Fultz have under his belt at this point? Tell me it's 7? Ooh, the 6'4" stronger guard. 7 was it, right? 7. We're bringing Markelle Fultz in. That's who I want. I know he's a little bit injury prone at times, but give me Markelle Fultz. He's been around the block, got a little bit of upside to him in the sense of he'll have some really good games. Ignore the 2.9 on offense. We just want the defense and the ball handling right now. That's all I need from him. So give me this $3 million right here. There we go. You get to 1 year minimum contract. There you go. I'm gonna put him as the 3rd string for now, but you can put him in any order you want, and that right there is your 2025-2026 Boston Celtics. Now, quick note, the Celtics are almost certainly going to get a disabled player exception for next year, which does give them the ability to go sign some people for like above that. Wasn't going to mess with that too much in here. I would have had to rework the sheet a little bit, but that does give them a little bit of added flexibility. But even if they did not use that, we made it work. So let's recap. What did we do? Well, we made the team worse, unfortunately. We did make the team worse, but we got below the luxury tax, which means that this team drops so much in expenses, like so much, and we've reset the counter now. So what's really cool about this, because we got rid of Kristaps Porzingis, we got rid of Drew Holiday, right? We got rid of Sam Hauser. We brought in some people in like a Wendell Carter, right, who's still got a little bit of time left on his deal, and he's cheaper. We could use him in trades going forward when we're trying to build the team back up. Obviously, cutting money was what we really tried to do, but this team's still competitive. You have Sixth Man of the Year Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown are awesome. Hopefully, Jaylen Brown will be healthier this next season. PJ Washington, very good starter in the NBA. Wendell Carter should be able to do something for us, right? 3 and D. Hopefully, the 3 comes back, right? This team likes to take a lot of threes. Maybe we empower him a little bit with the power of the Celtics, right? I don't know. The center lineup behind isn't the greatest. I like Kata. I really do. I know sometimes it's not that great with him. We built back up the forward spot, which was really down with Jason Tatum. So at least we've got some options there. Again, we're hoping Jordan Walsh or Baylor Shireman gets a little bit better. Obviously, the bench of this group is not great, right? The bench of this group is not very good, and that's unfortunate, right? Because we just couldn't spend much money on this team. But hopefully one of the rookies works out, and Clayton and Cam Jones and Grant Nelson. I don't know. We got older guys, so hopefully they're a little bit more ready to go. And overall, we also acquired a couple draft picks along the way. So we got rid of that. But we did acquire at least a little bit of assets going forward, which is fine, right? It's fine. So overall, I think this video was a success because we got here in this team. Look, the East is going to suck next year, right? And, well, I shouldn't say that. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be probably a little bit rougher. We'll see what happens with Giannis and everything. But this team should still be able to get you like a playoff play-in spot or something like that, right? Because, I mean, still got some pretty damn good players right here. It's just this team's bench is rough. It is rough. I won't lie to you. Like, it could be better, could be worse. Like, I'd be curious to see your guys' ideas because I don't think this is like a perfect scenario by any means, but it was a tough situation they were going to find themselves in. So there was only so much to be done. But anyway, I appreciate you guys watching as always. I hope you guys are having a good weekend because I think you guys will get this on a Saturday, if I'm thinking correctly. But anyway, I appreciate it. What's the score in the Nuggets game? I can't even tell right now. Let me check my phone. Have they lost yet? I don't. The Thunder eliminate the Nuggets, and apparently there was a fight. Cool. Nuggets empty the bench. That's what you're supposed to do. Empty the bench in that situation. I love it. I love it. But anyway, let's go on to the comments of the video. Alrighty, y'all. Comment of the video is coming from the Utah Jazz ideal offseason video. As always, go give those a watch. And it's from AltRock17 here that says, I need you to sell me on Kasparis more. Well, guess what? I've got a whole video series about that. Look, you can go to playlists right here. Do they fit in the NBA series? The video is right there. So, and that's what I said. I was like, what if I told you I have an entire video on it? Yeah, this is just a way for me to market and network more and get you guys to watch my other videos. But no, there's been a lot of really interesting comments recently that I've really appreciated. So I don't know. I just kind of wanted to use that as a plug to do that. I liked this comment a lot. The looking ready one. He said 1955. He fits the culture in other ways too. Basically, this is a Jazz video and we drafted a white guy. So yeah, funny stuff as always, right? As always, leave me a comment. You guys know I respond to every single one. If you want access to the ideal offseason spreadsheet, it's really easy. Go here, click join the Discord, it's free, and then go to the announcements channel on there and download the spreadsheet for yourself. It's free. Have all the fun with it in the world. As always, because again, a lot of new viewers on here, make sure you read the comment section rules here. We try to just be better than the rest of the internet. We really do. And I've had some wild comments recently. Like, we've had a couple not so nice ones in terms of race and everything, and it's like, whoa, y'all gotta chill a little bit. Y'all just come onto the internet and choose violence some days. So go on here, kind of see my rules for it. I'm not above hiding people because I can't be asked. If you're gonna say stupid stuff in my comment section, I'm just gonna hide you, which means that you can comment all you want, but like nobody else can see it, including me. So not a big deal whatsoever. If y'all can't play nice, then is what it is. But so many of you are putting on just elite comments, and I love it. So thank you for that. But anyway, I appreciate you guys as always, and yeah, we'll talk later. Thanks so much. Bye.